Today marks 25 years since beloved presenter Jill Dando was gunned down outside of her home. Jill, who fronted hit shows such as Crime Watch and Holiday, was shot on the doorstep of her property in Fulham, southwest London on Monday, April 26, 1999. The newsreader was among the most famous journalists of the 90s and died at the young age of 37. Her murder remains one of Britain's biggest unsolved crimes, a quarter of a century after she was killed in cold blood. As the BBC's documentary The Murder of Jill Dando airs again tonight, the Mirror takes a look back at the star's final moments before she was tragically killed. Jill had woken up at the home of her fiancé, Alan Farthing, where she was spending the majority of her time in the run-up to their wedding in 5 months' time. She made him breakfast in bed before he left for work, and planned on heading out to a charity lunch at a swanky hotel in Mayfair. Around 10 a.m., she drove her blue BMW convertible to a garage on the A4, where she picked up petrol and milk. She then drove to Hammersmith in West London to visit the King's Mall shopping centre. Jill visited 3 shops, Ryman's, Dixon's and the Link, to pick up fax paper and other stationery bits. At 11 a.m., she left the mall and headed back towards Fulham. Thorough CCTV analysis showed no sign she was being followed. One of the last people to see the star alive was Customs and Excise surveillance expert Sarah Pusey, who was out in her car and stopped at traffic lights next to Jill's BMW. She told the Mail she was so thrilled to spot a celebrity, she immediately called a friend to tell her. She said, "I was in a queue of traffic going towards Hammersmith. She was in a soft-top car coming the other way. I remember thinking that's Jill Dando and smiling across at her. She smiled back." Before heading to her house, Jill went to pick up some Dover sole at Cope's Fishmongers on Fulham Road, which she was planning to cook for her fiancé for dinner that night. Phone records showed she made 4 calls while she was out at the shops, dialing a friend, 192 directory inquiries and her agent's assistant. The presenter also rang a West End theatre to confirm a booking for tickets to see a Boss musical Mamma Mia, which she'd bought for her partner as a birthday present. The last call Jill took is said to have been at 11:23 a.m. From the background noise heard by the caller, it's believed Jill was still in the Fishmongers. She had less than 10 minutes left to live. After that, one of her neighbours, Richard Hughes, said he heard a car alarm bleep, footsteps and a startled scream. Vita Saunders, a resident of the quiet street in Fulham, saw Jill slumped on her doorstep in a pool of blood, still clutching her house keys in one hand. Ms. Saunders told Mail Online in 2019 that she was having tea at a neighbour's home when another friend, Helen Dobley, knocked at the door and begged her to come with her to an address in the next street. Ms. Dobley had walked past a disturbing scene and wanted someone else to see it too. "I don't think I fully grasped what I was going to see, and it seems odd now, with hindsight, but I took my mug of tea with me," Ms. Saunders said. "She was in a pool of blood, and I noticed her lips were blue and there were some small drips of blood running from her nose. I think we knew immediately that she was critically injured. She was still clutching a set of keys in one hand, probably her door keys or possibly her car keys. The handles of her handbag were over the other arm and her mobile phone was inside, ringing constantly." After calling 999 and running to a nearby GP's surgery to get help, the receptionist warned Ms. Saunders that the woman was almost certainly dead and told her not to touch anything. Jill reached Charing Cross Hospital around 12:30 p.m. and resuscitation attempts continued until 1:05 p.m., when she was pronounced dead. Police reportedly blamed the extensive attempts to save the star for possibly compromising any forensic evidence, as Jill's clothes were ripped off and the ground around her body was trampled by emergency workers. Barry George was arrested for Gill's murder in 2000 and spent 8 years in jail before being released in 2008 when he was unanimously acquitted following a retrial. The murder has still not been solved. This week, a Mirror investigation prompted a crucial eyewitness to identify Serbian hitman Milorad Radulovic as the man she saw running for his life from the direction of the crime just minutes after Jill was killed. She also identified him as the man she saw in CCTV footage from nearby Putney Bridge tube station, which was shown to her by police weeks after the murder. A report by a facial recognition expert found there were no differences between the man in the CCTV image, captured around 30 minutes after her death, and the Serb assassin. Former specialist CCTV officer at Essex Police, Emi Polito: "I could find no significant differences that would permit the elimination of Ulamek as a candidate for Man X." Jill's brother Nigel Dando, who took part in the Netflix series about her unsolved murder last year, is unsure if he believes Mr. George did it. In a new interview, he told The Independent, "I don't know. Who knows? One jury thought he did. Another jury in a retrial acquitted him. But Nigel still has a small ounce of hope that an eyewitness or perpetrator will come forward with new information and finally solve the cold case." Nigel said that even after 25 years, although I'm not holding out too much hope, they may just suffer a prick of conscience and put their hands up and say, "Yeah, it was me." The Murder of Jill Dando airs on BBC Two tonight at 9 p.m.